Welcome to Renaissance Humanism. Today's host is myself, Jonathan Riley, and today's episode we will be discussing the importance of building your own personal library for professional and personal enjoyment, as well as a method to improve your earnings and obviously to educate yourself to become better than you are today. Now, when it comes to actually selecting your library, you first got to have a profession in mind that you want to learn. You can either learn through professional courses or online university or through self-learning. For example, personally, I had a colleague when I was at the Lloyds Banking Group, when I was doing stockbroking. This person's relative, they actually self-taught by developing their own personal library, their own trial and error, to actually invest in cryptocurrency. With something like this, you managed to make $14,000 within 6 months of actually starting the process of self-education. Now, if you think to yourself, I can just go online, buy stocks and shares, or I can easily get a skill just like that very quickly, that's not how it's going to work. When you decide to actually develop a skill, develop your personal library, this is a process that could take 5 years. It takes 5 years to become a master, or 10 years if you work in a full-time job. It takes about 40 hours a week to actually master a subject, to become truly skilled at it. But the best substitute for this, the way you can actually condense the learning so you can do this quickly, so you don't have to take you 5 years, 10 years, is to find a mentor if possible. You can find mentors online, you can find mentors in books or audiobooks, some form of online learning, or even YouTube is a great model for learning, or podcasts. The only question when it comes to something like this, you must do your research, you must look them up on their social media, preferably LinkedIn, just so you can see their background. Are they legit? Because you don't want to take advice from somebody who's a fake guru, who's a fake master, someone who is not a true professional. For example, there's the podcasters, YouTubers, Fresh and Fit, and who market themselves as these alpha men who are going to teach you how to get all the girls, make all this money. I do believe the money side of things are legit, but it comes to the certain brand images, as they put themselves as alphas, it's not there, because they do pay for sex. They do go on sugar daddy websites, and they do see women as commodities that they pay for. That's the image they put out there, trying to be alpha, but they're not. So you don't want to go to somebody, follow a YouTuber, follow an academic who has no actual experience, who is not doing it. For example, Logan Paul is legit. He may be an asshole or a dickhead. I do apologise, children, listen to this, but he may be that, but he cannot deny his success. He has a successful podcast. He has over 23 million followers on YouTube, and when he talks about marketing and branding, I would say listen to him. He gives great advice. A piece of his advice is this: do not sell products for women. These are like Instagram models who are like a part of the simp economy, which I'll cover in a different episode, the simp economy. But these Instagram models, these eye candies, they sell bikini products to their audience. See, their audience is predominantly men, and they're selling female products to these men, unless they are cross-dressers, which I'm inclined to believe they are not cross-dressers. This is a poor marketing strategy. You must have your market, your product, to go to that market. If your audience is predominantly men, you want to sell stuff like Manscaped, male products to them, because if a man is watching a Instagrammer in a bikini or on OnlyFans, they are not the market to buy products bikinis, because they're not going to be buying those products bikinis for their girlfriend, because if they had a girlfriend, they wouldn't be beating the bishop by watching these Instagrammers. So you really want to look at people out, really watch what they're doing, watch the kind of content they're creating, what kind of books they've read, some sort of professional experience. As I said, Logan Paul is a YouTuber and he's a professional marketer. He knows his stuff. Same with people like Conor McGregor. You might think Conor McGregor is just a fighter in UFC, but he knows about branding, he knows about image, so you can learn lots from there as well. See, when it comes to building your library, your information, you can use many tools. You don't have to be books. It can be audio books, it can be YouTube, it can be podcasts, it can be even through experience as well, because not just a reading exercise, but it's a development exercise as well. You must build your skills, you must build a foundation, and on top of that you must get your skills. See, the way I started writing, my first kind of writing I did was in academia at university. So I spent 3 years at university. I learned how to write in an academic style, and then I did 6 months working as an intern, as a content writer, as a copywriter. So I learned to actually write professionally, and now I write to magazines, try and get more clients so I can actually write for them as well. And that process, I had to read and do how to actually do and make those products, actually make those kind of sales by print through the written word. A good place to start if you actually want to learn how to write print copy, is the Copywriter's Handbook by Robert W. Blay. That's B-L-Y. It's a very interesting book. This book is like, if you just started out copywriting, you want any information, how to write it, all of it is inside this book. If there is a link section in the what this podcast will be on, I will be leaving the resources for these books inside the description. Another book, which I strongly recommend for a personal library, is by Writer's Digest. This is Writer's Market, the 100th edition, newly revised and updated. This has been going on since 1921. It's over 100 years old now. If you want to know anything about writing, who to contact, then Writer's Digest is the book for you. If you want to get into writing, if you want to go to magazines, I strongly suggest that what you do, you go through the book, you read it, you pick who you want to contact, you follow the instructions and the guidelines, and then you email them a sample copy, showing that you can actually do this work, and then they'll pay you the appropriate amount. Though the prices might vary due to inflation, what they're willing to pay, and also if you're new as well. So the more experience you have, the more they'll pay you, basically. And also, when it comes to stuff like that, developing new skills, is that you're new. They don't know who you are. So why should they trust you? They'll trust you by being consistent and showing that you have skills. As I said, there's like I strongly recommend, there's a YouTuber called Sarah Copywriting Agency, I believe the name is. It should be on YouTube. She runs like a personal school to try and people to become copywriters, and in it she's actually trained people to actually earn like 21,000 a year doing copywriting, beginners, even that kind of big salary as well each month as well. Copywriting just by doing their own samples, send them off to people, to different clients, and then get paid for it. As I said, copywriting just for myself, because I'm a writer, I'm a copywriter. That's just something that I know personally, which is an option for yourself if that's something that you want to develop. All you need a good grasp of your language. If you're a shit speller, if you're a poor speller, buy Grammarly, the premium edition, and also get yourself, if you have trouble actually writing as well, as long as you can read, you have some sort of understanding of grammar, you can use Grammarly. I recommend buying the Speak to Write software. It's called Dragon Natural Speak. The version I use is version 15, but obviously if you can, get the most up-to-date edition, so that way it gets the best software. What it does, it reads your voice and it turns those voices onto the screen. You'll really find it helpful if you struggle with your language, with your words, the written words. It really helps, because for myself, I've got dyslexia, so reading, writing, I do find difficult at times, so I have to use software to actually help me out. As long as the words are mine, but as long as I get them onto the page, I make sure they're okay, because I look through it all as well, I edit the work, that's out. So I think that would really help if you're looking for some sort of not passive income, but an extra income on the side, or a new skill set you can build. Now, as for your library, as I said previously, you want to choose the right topic. The right topics as well. See, I think the stuff you can actually do yourself is dropshipping, copywriting, podcasting, and stock market investing. But it all depends on what's your attitude to risk, your appetite. As I said, the example I gave you of this person I know personally, she is 18 years old. She lives in the United States, and she was able to do this because, one, she's living at home, so she saves a lot of money. She hasn't got any expenses on food, rent, anything like that. She lives with her mum and dad, so she's 18 years old. She's being what you call productive. She's using her time wisely. She's learning a skill set that actually can lead to a profitable outcome, which also entails risks. She's at this point. She's in a stage of life when you're in your teens, in your 20s, you can make big risks. For yourself, if you have a family to look after, if you have a wife, if you have kids, if you have illegitimate children that you don't want people to know about, you've got to pay for, that might not be the option for you because you don't have this spare income. So this means you've got to pick something else. You've got to pick something that fits you, something you can actually do, something which is actually going to be low cost. See, to start a podcast, you don't need any fancy recording equipment. You just need headphones and a mic and a normal webcam, which can also be already in the laptop or PC. So again, this is cheap. And you're talking like over £300 for an okay laptop or PC, depending on the cost. Obviously, you got a bigger budget, you can buy better equipment, you can buy better desks. So you got to think strategically. What kind of equipment do I need? What kind of resource do I need to learn? And also, this is where it comes to reading books as well. A lot of books online, some of them you can get for note. If you've got a Kindle subscription, you can find some stuff on podcasting, on copywriting, that you'll get for note really pretty free, because it'll just come with a subscription. Other books you can buy, but I recommend reading the reviews. Also, I want to say, give you a piece of advice now. Be careful when you actually read the reviews, because those reviews are not always from customers. They're from the companies, marketing agencies trying to sell you that product. It could even be from the author itself if it's been self-published, because they can go and create a burner email. If you want to know how to create a burner email, just type in create burner email in the Google search. It should come up with a burner email you can use. So you can use that burner email to set up a dummy account to leave reviews. Of course, that's an option. And as I say, just be careful for any kind of products you're looking at. Just because I've worked in that kind of industry, just be careful. It's same with for online as well. I won't mention any names, just because I've got no proof. I don't want to begin slander and stuff, but put simply, this person who have, again, no names, that they use LinkedIn as a way to generate sales. So what they do, they spice up accounts to put in false information, or information that can be exaggerated, because there's no one checking these backgrounds. So they could put down that they're like a CEO for 10 years, they have 30 years of marketing experience, they've got so many years of copyright experience, like 10 years. So it would match the age. They could put like a photo in, and like a really nice spicy photo, and try to build up the account to generate more and more sales. See, that's where I say you just want to be careful when you go on someone's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, see if they're actually genuine, because you don't want to be trying to build your knowledge, build your personal library, and realise that you're listening to a phony. As I said, for myself, I left my LinkedIn. You can judge what I'm saying through the podcast, through the YouTube. Am I legit? And I don't want to give any false impression, but I'm not making massive bucks. I know. I mean, you can tell just by the way I'm dressed. I've got like a normal purple shirt on. If you're watching this over the podcast, I've got glasses in my ears. My skin is a bit pale, and I'm slightly overweight, so it's not really the image of a very rich and successful person. I'm very much in the beginning of my journey creating this podcast. I'm developing a book as well, and and also starting my freelance career as well, trying to actually get more clients and sell my services. So again, with somebody like myself and other podcasters and YouTubers, are we legit? That's what you got to really look at as well. You don't want any fake advice. I'd also say that try different things out. You got to experiment, and also commitment is a big deal. You don't want to start your journey as a content writer, as a marketer, as a dropshipper, or even anything of that nature where you try to actually build a skill set, either to work freelance or work for a company where you can actually start making enough money to look after yourself, look after your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, alternative situationships, whatever, so you can have a secure future. And when it comes to money, in the UK, if you want to go to bed at night and not worry about your finances, the amount is £52,000. It's a bit more if you're somewhere down south in London, Cornwall, that kind of area. In the United States, depending on the cities, in New York, it's about $95,000 a year. So you're talking six figures, 100,000 a year shouldn't be safe. And that can vary from state to state. So when it comes to your personal library, you got to choose how much money do you want to make and what do you want to do with your life. Because you can be happy not earning much. You can have a family. You can have your two holidays a year. But that's okay. There's no shame in that at all. But does that make you happy? Because money and like stuff doesn't make you happy. It's relationships that make you happy. And you don't want to end up going home on a night and no one there to see you. No friends, no family, no loved ones, nothing. So as I said, when it comes to actually making this choice, it's a massive choice. It's a massive life decision. And there's nothing even stopping you developing multiple skill sets. You can learn to do stocks. You can learn to write. You can learn graphic design. You can learn coding. You just got to see what is your talent. What is the best thing for you. For example, you could experiment with doing radio work or podcasting work, and you realise you got the gift of the gab. You've got the ability to speak. You have some sort of charisma. When people hear your voice over the radio, over the podcast, they listen. That you got like an oratorical gift. You could find that as well, and you can also realise you can also good at writing, or good at coding. It's what suits your personality and temperament. That's what you got to pick when it comes to choosing your own personal library and developing these skills, because everything has a price. Some of them prices are worth it. Some prices they're not. It takes about, I'd say, 20 hours for normal people to actually read a 500-page book. So say you want to educate yourself. That means you got to read, I'd say, 3 books a week. If you want to do it really quick and you knuckle down. So that's 60 hours a week. You got those 60 hours a week reading. On top of that, you have your 35 to 60 hours a week working, depending on the nature of your profession. And then you got another 20 hours on top of that to keep yourself updated. So yeah, So there's that price to earn your time. That's why it's often easier for people that we haven't got families to actually take these kinds of risks. But with that said as well, it's been proven that people work more efficiently when they have families, but they're not likely to make big changes to their lives. There's an interesting book I strongly recommend reading called Outliers. In that book, it talks about why people like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates were successful, and that was because they was born in 1950s, 1955, 1956, middle 50s. The reason why this is important, because if they were born earlier, when they got to the 70s, they would have wife, they would have children, and that means they're not going to ditch all that, put that at risk to start a company or to just start coding professionally. Because they were born at the right time, had access to the right resources. Bill Gates famously had access to his college coding equipment at the university, at the college, and Steve Jobs, he met Steve Wozniak, which I believe between those two it was a lucky and beneficial partnership. Steve Jobs, he didn't know how to code. He didn't know he wasn't an engineer, but he did know business development. He had this natural skill for business development, and he knew marketing and he knew sales. He had these skills, and he also knew UX design. He knew what people wanted from a product. That were his skills. And Steve Jobs, Wozniak, Bill Gates, they were lucky because they were born at the right time, just when the computer industry was just taking off, when coding really started. They were at the forefront, so it's when you were born as well. If you are a 35-year-old man or woman with a young baby, young family, where you got to take care of, these kind of risks might not be for you. Because why would you take a big loan out or work in a garage, eat soup? Because famously, Steve Jobs, he did all his work from his parents' garage with Wozniak. If you are a man in your 30s or a woman with a family, you're not going to give that all up, your career, your salary and the security of your retirement, of your family well-being, to actually do that. So you can clearly understand why taking risks is not for everybody. Because obviously it's risky and it's dangerous for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones. I'd also say when it comes to reading for joy as well, if you say you want to become a writer, I don't mean like a content writer, but like a author, you can actually learn those skills as well. If you can link it, it's best if you want to learn to build a library, if you actually are in a career which you can go in that career into another career, different profession. As for reading for joy, that can be anything really, but for something like that, I do recommend reading like practical books, business books, history books, philosophy books. Just that something that can help you to emote and also give you like a good quality of conversation. See, if you listen to this now, right, and you've never read a book in your life, just think of George Foreman. He didn't read a book until, I believe, was his 20s or very late teens. Then he just got this book, he sat down, I believe he read it within about a day or two, and that's the first book he ever read, and he didn't stop. See, because if there is nothing in your head at this time, that means your head is waiting to be filled up with knowledge. And that's where reading comes in, it's where podcasts come in. But I do strongly recommend getting a old-fashioned paper book. For me, there's nothing like the good old paper when it comes to book, or a hardback if you can. There's nothing like reading for joy. Open a book, and in the book you'll find words. You'll find words that can change your life, and that can give you a truly positive experience. For me, when I read a book, it feels like when you go to the gym. When you go to the gym, you go for a run, you feel like your blood starts pumping, your body like starts to shift as well, because like it's again trying to get healthy, it's trying to build muscle, because you exercise and you got sweat pouring down your face. That for myself, that experience is exhilarating. I feel the same way when I'm talking to a new book. I think you might, if you enjoy knowledge, or if you've never read before, just sit down, grab a book that you want to read. You stare at the book. You grab the book. You say, I'm going to read that fucking thing. And I'm not getting from this table until I've read 2 chapters. So you sit down and you start reading. And you realise as you're reading, your mind's expanding like Megamind. You're becoming more. You feel it. You feel the knowledge getting into your brain. You feel like, I was the idiot 5 minutes ago, but now I'm getting wiser, I'm getting cleverer. I think that is something that you'll truly experience. You'll feel better. You'll feel more focused. You'll feel like you've become more. That's the experience of education, of learning. That's the benefit. Because I think when it comes to education, learning, it gives you more experience. It gives you true learning. It gives you something that is actually part of your life. With people on phones, you're not actually experiencing the world. You're on your phone. The next time you travel to work, if you go by public transport, don't go on your phone. Get a small book. If you read like a little book, or you just don't go on your phone, you'll realise, I can remember my journey. I can remember my day. I can remember the people that's been on the bus. You realise how much of life you're actually missing. Because phones is making us skip life. It's not making us experience it. I believe Steve Jobs, Wozniak, people who created the modern phone, they did a fantastic job. But I think that it's our self-responsibilities to experience life and know the dangers that it's rotting your brain. It's making people have like more conditions like not dyspraxia, Asperger's, like developmental problems that they can't communicate, that they're socially retarded. They're not. The ability to communicate, to connect with another person is important. We need these social skills to have friends, to have relationships. You can't go on a date and you both feel like stuffed dummies. You've got to actually experience it. You've got to be there with somebody. And I think that's another skill that needs to be developed as well. You can also you can read books on that kind of personal development communication skills, because you'll need those communication skills. You need the workplace as well. When I left university, well, I'll go back a bit earlier than that. I did not start my mainstream education until I was 15 years old. Because I didn't get diagnosed until I was about 14, 15 when it was all sorted, because they just thought I was thick, and they didn't really know what dyslexia was, because at that time in the UK, and I suppose now as well in the workforce, from my experience, that people don't see dyslexia as real. They think it's like it's not real, that you're faking it or you're just stupid, kind of thing. And I think something like that is the importance of developing communication skills, because when I actually first entered to bond with other classmates, I didn't have the skill set to be able to communicate, because I haven't been around them for quite some time. So mainstream education at 15, those skills were crap. I would describe myself almost like I had Asperger's, just because those skills weren't there. And it wasn't really until university and afterwards, when I worked as a door-to-door salesman for a month, when I did door-to-door sales for 12 months as a brand partner with Oriflame Cosmetics, selling cosmetic products, doing videos about basing on like cosmetic products, makeups and stuff, we actually learned the importance of communication skills. Because there's nothing like being like James Charles, having to put makeup on your face, but it gets you motivated to actually start learning again. And I think that if you want to do anything to do with sales, personal development, professional development, you will need to develop these skills related to communication. You'll have to learn to communicate with people, not just any kind of people, different people that from different educational backgrounds, whether they're going to university, college, PhDs, professors, CEOs, or just normal people who are cleaners, who are bus drivers, who are working class people, or people that are in the middle class, teachers, know how to speak to them. Understand that some people will not appreciate the way that they won't understand. You'll think that there is. If you try to tell somebody with your known knowledge that you've gained how the world works, they'll not understand you. Because I hope one thing this is clear as well is that life is not fair. It doesn't owe you anything, and that is something that people don't understand. You can't just pray your problems away. You can't pray to God and saying, please deliver me a man, please deliver me a woman, please deliver me a better paycheck. It's something you're going to have to do yourself. And I think that's what our society doesn't have reality. We don't live in reality. And that's the importance of building a professional library, of building your own personal library. Because it's not just about gaining knowledge, it's about becoming a better human being. It's about learning more. It's about understanding the world, understanding different people, and how we have to live. Okay, that's a bit deep now, and I hope that you take some time to actually think what I've said, digest what I've said, and come to your own conclusion. Okay, thanks for your time. Please don't forget to subscribe, and please leave any comments as well. You can also find me in my LinkedIn link, and also my blog, which is therenaissancehumanism.co.uk. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode.